we win together. So to me, it doesn't really matter who's in the driver's seat and who's in the passenger. You're in the same car. So like that happened for us because it served me to go to school. I couldn't have gone to school if she didn't have a thriving business. And so she sacrificed a lot for me. And it meant that I had to hold the tape measure.
Yeah.
But I was willing to do it, and I wanted to spend time with her. And so I think for us, it was like, well, that serves the greater purpose. And the greater purpose is this pays for school. This helps me to move on in my career. And now it's flipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's always how it's going to be. I just think that's how relationships work, is that no one person is always in that spot forever.
Well, hey, crew, it is Adam and Emily, and you are here listening to the conversation. Wherever you may be, wherever you're joining in from, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for being with us. Maybe in your car, maybe you're jogging on your treadmill, wherever you are, we're honored that you're here.
We sure are. We have a fun little series kicking off today. We are starting a 4-week series all about marriage. We got 4 different couples, all sort of on different walks of life right now.
Yeah.
All joining us, talk about marriage, the highs and lows, the beautiful, the ugly, all sorts of stuff.
So much wisdom. Like the couples that we got to interview are incredible. The Lees from England, the Thomases, the VanRulers. I mean, this is an awesome lineup. I would really just encourage you, you married folks, and even people who are dating, to listen to it as well, or single. But if you're married, make sure you and your spouse listen to these episodes and have a date night. Discuss them. Listen to the episode before, and then when you're out on your date, like, hey, what stuck out? What 2 or 3 things stuck out? And talk about it. Because I've already told Becky, hey, we need to listen to all these because they're really, really good.
They are great. And this kind of goes along with Embrace. The church that Adam pastors here in Sioux Falls is actually doing a marriage event at the end of October. So that is on Saturday, October 25th. If you want to find out any more information about that, you can visit IamEmbrace.com/marriage.
Yeah, Carrie and Tony Newhoff. Carrie is one of the most well-known pastors. He's got a huge podcast. The 2 of them are leading this marriage conference. It's going to be great. We'd love to have you visit. Take a trip to Sioux Falls if you're from outside of town.
It's an awesome, growing city.
It is. Fly in, stay at the Canopy Hotel, and go to this marriage conference. You won't regret it.
Before we go any further in this episode, we have some awesome partners that we're going to thank. Adam, who do we got today?
Yeah, our partners, I am so honored to have these partners. Our first partner is the International Justice Mission. IJM is a global nonprofit working to end slavery and violence around the world, and they focus on the most vulnerable people experiencing poverty. So IJM goes into some of the darkest, cruelest situations our world has ever seen, like genuinely, and they bring the full force of the law to provide justice and healing to these people in these dark places. I just want to invite you, go to ijm.org, find out more about becoming a freedom partner. My wife and I are freedom partners ourselves. That simply means someone who gives on a monthly basis to further the work that IJM does. Again, ijm.org. You won't regret it. It's one of the best possible ways that you can use your resources to help other people. Our other partner today is Vern Eide Mitsubishi. Vern Eide Motor Cars is a growing employee-owned faith-based company that strives to deliver dreams and transform lives. And their goal in selling automobiles and selling snowmobiles and selling boats is excellence in everything that they do. And they are excellent. What I tell people is you'll get such great help and service, but without all the sales pitch and pressure. I've never once felt pressured. I felt so informed. Actually, Jared, I'm looking at a vehicle right now, a Honda CR-V to be specific, and Jared has not bothered me at all. He's just simply been helpful. Like, hey, here is the price we can offer. Hey, here's this or that I've asked about. They're just awesome. So no matter what kind of vehicle you're looking for, no matter where you live, they'll ship it to you. Go visit verneide.com. Verneide.com. Go check it out.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Again, we're in week 1 of our marriage series. Adam, what is your hope for the people listening today, next week, the following week, that they would get out of this?
Yeah, marriage is super hard. It's really hard. And I feel like, even just on a daily basis, people come visit me, send me messages, DMs, asking if I'd pray for their marriage. And so my hope is if you're stuck in a rut right now in your marriage, that you'd get out of the rut, that you'd be encouraged, that you'd be challenged to do some of the things that you used to do when you were dating. If you're dating or single, I hope that you would listen and say, this is the kind of marriage I want to have. And then for those couples who are doing great, I hope it just adds fire to your marriage. Mm-hmm. Like, I just hope it's like, marriage is nonstop work, just like our relationship with Jesus. And so you always need ways to continue growing. And so that'd be my hope with the series. That's a great question.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
We have Jodi and Jason VanRuler on today. I know you know them pretty well. Can
Yes.
you give us just like a 30-second snapshot of who they are?
So Jason and Jodi are dear friends. They live in Sioux Falls. I can't believe they live in Sioux Falls. Jason, in my eyes, is one of the best therapists in our country, period. More specifically, I'd say he is one of the best therapists who's also a Jesus follower in the country. So super educated, like he's an author. He's got an insane experience. More than that, he's just an amazing dude who loves Jesus. And his other half, Jodi, is the better half of this couple. I can say that because I'm close friends with Jason. Jodi's awesome. She's filled with wisdom. She's quieter, so she's not going to ever talk you to death. Mm-hmm. But when she speaks, you always want to listen. And so I was so honored. Jason does a lot of podcasts and speaking, but Jodi is often not there. Yeah. And she's great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation. So how long have you guys been married? Let's start there.
18 and a half years. Yeah.
18 and a half years?
Yeah.
Awesome. And is kind of back history, is that true in previous generations in your family as far as solid, healthy marriages? I'm making the assumption that you guys have a solid, healthy marriage.
We do. Very solid. Very healthy.
But is that an okay question to ask? I don't even know if that's okay.
Oh, yeah. No, not for me. That's not the case for my family.
Yeah.
Divorced when I was young, and then there hasn't. I think I'm longest married in my family. My grandparents were married a long time, but that's not been the case in mine. Has been in yours,
Yeah,
though.
50 years. My
50
parents
years.
were this year, yeah.
How about that? I don't know why. I think that's kind of interesting even to hear as we jump into talking about marriage in general. Jason, because you're a therapist, I'm just going to assume that you guys have a perfect marriage. That's probably why I made the assumption.
That's a fair assumption. Yeah.
Is there, honest question though, is there any advantage to you in your own marriage being a therapist? What would you say about that? You know, because people assume, and I was thinking about this as a pastor, maybe some of the advantages of, like, I do get to spend a lot of time in God's word. Mm-hmm. I get to spend a lot of time like talking about spiritual things. So I could see that being a benefit. At the same time, though, working at a church can often be a spiritual desert because it's a part of your job to link closely. Is there any benefits, would you say, to being a therapist?
We'll ask Jodi in just a second. But what I would say is, yeah, for the same reason, right? I mean, I get to spend most of my days learning how to do it better, which is really awesome. I also get to hear a lot of couple stories that maybe are struggling, and sometimes struggling in more profound ways. So sometimes we're kind of off and I'm like, oh man, this is everything. It's terrible. It's bad. And then you listen to someone going through something real and it's kind of like, you know, we got it pretty good. And so sometimes it kind of reassures me like, oh man, we're kind of on the right track. And, you know, other days we are struggling. So I think it's good in the sense of good tools, spending your life getting better. I think what's not great is Jodi didn't marry me to be her therapist. And that was so disappointing to me that that's not why we're together. But it just means like that's not what she's looking for.
Yeah.
And so even though it's what I know and I could say like, oh, you should say that better or different, actually not looking for that for me. And so it kind of has pros and cons. And I think another con would just be sometimes I give the best stuff away before I get home. Right. And so if I'm not careful, kind of these vulnerable, intimate moments of emotional connection are kind of done. And then I get home and I'm just sort of like, how can we not talk a whole lot? How can we be quiet? And sometimes the relationships need more than that.
Oof. Jodi, what would you say to that?
I would say 95% of the time it's great. You know, he reads all the time. He's in it all the time, and it's very helpful to us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I've never asked that. I'm trying to get honest with each of the different couples for this series. Marriage wise, has there been one or two things that you would just be like, this has been a high point in our marriage? And is there as much as you're willing to share, like, this has been a challenge in our marriage? Again, can't even look at you guys when I'm asking the question, but like,
I've got a list. I hope you're ready.
Well, has there
Which
been
one?
like things where you're like, no, we have grown, or this was kind of a breakthrough in our marriage, or this was a harder part of our marriage? And it's okay if that's right now. Like for Beck and I, it's been a challenging. I feel like we have a really great marriage, but in the parenting department, it's been a little more challenging. And so this has been a season of growth in our marriage. So I'm just going to toss that up. We can delete this if we need to. Like,
we're not going to need to delete it. Do you want to? I mean, I kind of know what I would say, but do you want to answer?
Well, like the last few years, we're like in a really sweet spot with
Whoa.
our kids. I feel like. Do you feel like?
I do.
Okay. Like with our kids being the ages that they are, with, your career, with, I don't know, I just feel like we're in a good spot.
whoa.
Yeah. What would you say is a spot that's been difficult?
The last 16, no, I'm just kidding.
16 years before that.
Oh, I think when we were first married, it was really hard.
That's always what I look back to.
When we we were told you can't have kids, you can't, and it was just so hard. Being married is very difficult right away. It was for us.
Yeah. We didn't really get the honeymoon.
There was
there was just a few years where we were just elated and happy all the time. It was like we sort of got married and it was like, now this is hard work immediately. Yeah. And so I think I always look back, and not that we haven't struggled since then, because we had definitely had moments, but I feel like for us that season was like literally, is this going to work? Like, is this actually going to work out? Are we going to have a family? Like, I think it was really reconciling like the dream we had with what's actually going to come of this.
Whoa.
I mean, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. You would agree?
Feel like,
yeah.
What do you think, before I actually get to the actual question, this is so good. What do you think led to, like, in your marriage, obviously some circumstances in life maybe have changed, kids, whatever. What led to the sweet season? Like, do you feel like, in specifically your marriage, like, is there anything that you're like, this was, specifically if you're one to make kind of self-reflection, I changed this, or was there anything that you would say about your individual selves that's played to this season that you're in?
I think we did therapy, and you just continued on, becoming a therapist, and made that your whole career. And I don't know, I feel like it was a shift for us.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think the kids got a little older.
Yeah.
So we had more time together. I think when we get time together, we're always like, oh, you're my best friend. I love you.
Oh, that's why.
But if we don't, it's just sort of the mundane. And so for the longest time, I was trying to build my career. And so it was like we had young kids building my career. You've got your own business that you're running full time. It's sometimes even more than that.
Right.
And so for really a long time, it was just there was no time for us.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if it was like some big strategic thing that happened other than we got a little more time. Yeah. We used to get like 10 minutes to maybe sit in the car and talk real quick before the kids would come out to the garage. And then we all of a sudden got like, well, let's go out to eat.
Yeah,
and
now we can just leave them a little bit more.
Yeah. And with that, it's like, oh, I like you. Like, you're fun. And we needed that desperately. Like, I think that's been the sweet season for us now. And then even now, Jodi travels with me for work some of the times. And so just getting to do it together I feel like that made a big impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not what I expected you to say, but it was super refreshing. Because I think a lot of times if we're looking for this big shift or big aha, it's like just time together alone can be game changing. I feel like Beck and I just went on a trip and we got away for 9 days, and it doesn't always take getting away for 9 days, but it was just like, oh, whoa. Like, I felt the same way. I'm like, I love you so much.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I married you for a reason. It's just we're forgetful.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like sometimes we don't get to see the best parts because we're so busy with all the rest.
So good.
And so I think for us, it's been helpful. And then I think get involved, even like with you and other couples, and just kind of like cherishing in us. Like I do a lot of stuff on my own, but to get to do it together and kind of be like, well, this is who we are, has been a really cool season too.
That's great. Okay, so that's a perfect segue. So for this specific episode, we're going to talk about being on mission together. Maybe just I have some ideas of what I would say, but what does it mean and look like to live on mission with your spouse? In the midst of kind of everyday to life, what would you say? What does it mean to live on mission with your spouse? What would you say to that?
Yeah. Do you want to answer? Do you want me to? Yeah. I think we're just pointed in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that we have cast a vision for where we want to end up. We don't know all the steps, but we're pointed in the same direction, working together to get there. And so for us, I think that's kind of always the focus, is like, how are we getting there? And then how are we growing or expanding?
Okay, so with everything you just said, work-wise, kid-wise, is being on mission together something the two of you have talked about? Has it been something that you've been intentional about? And if so, can you share what that's looked like? Like, is that sitting down over a meal together? Like, what does that tangibly look like if that's been true?
Yeah. You want me to answer?
Sure.
Or do you have an answer?
Well, it's more like career-wise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My work has shifted down. I used to be completely busy. And it's shifted down when he's gotten busier.
Yep.
So I can help more with him. And now we get to do retreats together that we host together.
Yeah.
And that's really fun. And it's, helping other couples and really seeing each other how we work best. Mm-hmm. And it's been really fun.
Yeah.
And that's just, so it's nothing. It wasn't planned at all. It just shifted that way.
Yeah, I don't think we had this as like a 10-year goal or something.
Not at
But
all.
I think one of the things I've always appreciated about Jodi so much is like she has a servant heart. And so like not everybody gets to see that, but she's kind of at her best when she's serving other people.
Whoa.
And I feel like I like that. Like I want to serve other people. And so getting to do that together for the same group of people has been really cool. And so when we do retreats or do things like that, we're always looking at like, how do we use our strengths to serve people better? And it's so fun to be like, that's the goal for both of us, is the serving part.
That's super cool. So what I feel like I see in a lot of couples is one person is thriving. They have purpose. It like, oh my gosh, I know exactly why God put me on this earth. While the other is like, okay, well, I'm paying the bills for this thing. Or I feel like I'm like, it would have been easy for you, Jodi, to feel like, well, what about my career? And like, is mine not as important as Jason's? And why is mine taking a back seat? What would you just say to that person? And if it's been true in the past where either of you have felt that way, where you've been a back seat and it's like, well, like what would you say to a couple if that's not been anything in your own experience? What would you say to a couple who's there, and what should they do about that? Like,
Okay. Well, I know what I would say. I mean, Jodi,
do you feel like that's ever been true?
Yeah. When I was going through grad school, I would say,
like for the first 8 to 10 years, he was just going to school and I was working all the time.
yeah, making sort of $0 per year is what was happening. And she had a thriving appraisal business. And so literally for the first couple of years of grad school, like I measured houses and held the tape measure. Like that was my job. And so she was the big deal and I held the tape measure, and some days I could barely do that. Like I did my best, but it was a lot.
Well, you just put the tape measure down.
Yeah.
That has happened. Thanks for bringing it up, Adam.
Yep.
We're going to talk about it on the way home.
So what would your advice now, kind of in hindsight, be to that place? That specific. Like,
I think we win together. So to me, it doesn't really matter who's in the driver's seat and who's in the passenger. You're in the same car. So like that happened for us because it served me to go to school. I couldn't have gone to school if she didn't have a thriving business. And so she sacrificed a lot for me. And it meant that I had to hold the tape measure.
Yeah.
But I was willing to do it, and I wanted to spend time with her. And so I think for us, it was like, well, that serves the greater purpose. And the greater purpose is this pays for school. This helps me to move on in my career. And now it's flipped a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's always how it's going to be. I just think that's how relationships work, is that no one person is always in that spot forever.
Whoa. Advice for the person, the spouse who's maybe resentful about it. Like, because they feel like it's the other person's always in the driver's seat. And they're just along for the ride. And like, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if whatever? What would you, any wisdom that, because again, I feel like I see that. And maybe, do you see that? Like, even when you're meeting with people, it feels like, whoa, they got the career and they're kind of along for the ride. Like, what do you say to that person who's maybe resentful about it? And that's for both of you. Did you feel, Jodi, when you were kind of making the money, was that hard of just like, okay, buddy, like...
I was like, I'm going to go read some books. She's like, what are you doing today? And I was like, we'll probably sit in the sauna and read a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I might go for a walk later. I really like the library, so I'll probably sit there. And she's like, that's super cool. I'm going to work like 12 hours. And I'm like, yeah, I might get a coffee. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
You weren't like that.
But what was it like for you?
Well, I think I probably... The only thing that I really remember about it was I was so thankful to have the job that I did, because we had our first kid and then our second, and they came with me, all of them.
Whoa.
And I worked at home, and it was like, and I made good money, you know, and I put them through school and I paid for everything. And I felt really lucky to be able to do that and, you know, not have to worry about anything else, really.
Did you have that feeling, though, that he's talking about sometimes where you're like, oh, man, I'm working hard, or this is costing me a lot, and, you know, he's kind of getting to do this other thing? Yeah,
but I think we talked about it enough where it was like, this is just a little spot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like we've been really good at talking about the destination. Right.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't have a destination, that's hard. But for us, it was like, well, the destination is you're licensed, you have a practice, you grow. I think if it was just like you're doing this for question mark,
right?
That would have been probably a much different story.
For sure.
Right. So I think having that like shared or agreed upon destination made it pretty palatable for us to do that.
It was.
Well, so is that maybe a takeaway if a couple is just feeling like out of sync and out of whack, is just talking about it? Is like any other advice that you would have? Like,
like what's the point? What are we trying to do here? Right. So if we're on the same team, we're trying to harness both of our strengths. Where are we trying to go?
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like if you're going on a road trip, but you don't identify where you're trying to end up, it makes it really complicated.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's always sort of been, where are we going? And Jodi's really good about saying, like, we're trying to go here.
Yeah.
And so then we reverse engineer it. And then I think what I would just say for me, because just being really honest, sometimes it wasn't the most manly feeling to like get out of the vehicle with my tape measure and try to measure a house. You know, that prompted some things in me. And we even talked about that, where I'm like, I'm not providing. What is my value here? What is I work for you. How, you know, and what was good is Jodi was always like, well, that's not how she saw it, but it's how I felt.
Whoa.
And so what I kind of had to come to terms is like, you serve your family in a lot of different ways. And I think we limit it sometimes with it's only money or it's this or that. It's just, the truth is, in that moment, you needed me to do that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Like that was the job that needed to be done. And so sometimes I think serving your spouse is doing what needs to be done, not what you want. And so I did what needed to be done.
That's great. That's great. I love that. So this is going to be kind of a two-part question. The first part is, how do you support each other's individual dreams and callings? And you can go therapist mode if you want to, Jason. Like, how do you support your spouse's individual calling on their lives? Is there anything that you would say there? Like, how do you do that well?
Well, I'll say what I think I've done, and then you can, if I have or haven't, I'll tell you what I think.
Wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think when, you know, it's hard for people to have a calling. You know this, like when you work with somebody, like that's not always an easy thing for people. So I think when there's been a sense of that for her, I've just been all in on whatever it is.
Yep.
Right. you did a food blog and you were like, I love this. She's an amazing chef. And you're like, I think I like this. And I was like, well, I'm going to build a website. Let's do it. Like, it was just like anything I can do, I'm going to do to help you get there. And just being all in. So I think that's probably how I tried to approach it for you.
Do. You're always like, what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? How can I help?
But also, and what's been hard for me is not trying to tell her what I think her calling is. Yeah. So that's been the hard part for me, because I'm like, well, you should do this, this, and this, and I've got your life figured out. And if you would just, listen to my plan, and that's actually not honoring of her. And so I think for me, what's been different is just understanding that like our callings are different. And when it's obvious to her, the best thing I can do is pour in. And when it's not obvious, the best thing I can do is just wait quietly.
Yeah.
Instead of try to force something.
Yeah, that's good. Jodi, what would you add to that? Is everything that he said true, first off?
Very. He's always almost a little like, what do you think you want to do? Very, very supportive, 100%.
And slightly annoying. I'm joking. Joking.
Yeah.
When you were talking, I was like, this feels like me talking. I was getting uncomfortable and blushing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Becky'd be like, oh, yeah. What do you want to do with your life? She's like, I just want to live.
It's like a Saturday morning, you're getting coffee. She's like, we're just going to have a lazy morning. I'm like, let's plan your life.
Yeah.
What do you want today? Let's make it happen. How do we mobilize? She's like, I just wanted coffee today. That sounded good to me. What's it, because I feel like you do a good job of encouraging mine. How do you feel you do that? Or what's it like for you to do that?
I feel like I try hard to let you pursue your dreams. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of things going on. And I try and be supportive of most of them, I think.
Most.
Yeah.
I think as it's gotten busier, it's harder to do that. Like before, there was fewer opportunities. And so she was like all in on go do everything.
Yeah.
But as you know, you get busier and then you have to say no. And so what's it been like to see that? Because that's that's
really fun, actually.
Yeah.
It's fun to see you have a lot of opportunity.
What's the not fun part of it? Like, is there a not fun part of like, man, it's really taken off? Like, is there any part that it's just like, he's gone a lot? Or is there any hard parts of it?
Yeah, when he's gone a lot, but he's really tried hard to put a good balance on it.
Yeah.
And so we only, he tries to only go for 2 nights, 3 nights at most. You have it planned out pretty well.
Yeah. And I would say, as I've trained and done all the things, and not that this is how it should be necessarily, but you haven't said no to much if I felt it was important or valuable. You're just like, how do we make it happen? Like you've been really, really good.
What I said no to.
I remember what you said no to. It's a different podcast episode. There were some things.
There were some things. I got a list right here. It's a note on my phone.
I give you credit because it's kind of like you, I think, kind of took my approach and we both did that for each other, which was go do the thing.
Yeah.
Go do the thing. And sometimes they didn't work out. I mean, sometimes I did the thing and it was like, that was not the best use of time. But I feel like you've trusted me to kind of say, I think this makes sense. Let's try it. And you've been really good about that. Yeah.
So, okay, here's the second part. And we maybe answered it before, but I think it's important to touch on it again. So how do you support each other's individual dreams and callings? And then here's the second part, without losing your sense of marriage and being on the same team. Is there anything that you would add there? Like, how do you support each other while not losing you in your marriage? You know what I mean? Because I think it's often like, yeah, we're both pursuing what God has for us. And then at some point you kind of look and you're like, where did my spouse go? Oh, they're out chasing their individual dreams and callings. Any advice that you'd have with that part of it? Mm-hmm. Like, how do you not lose us in the sense of me, in the pursuit of our individual callings that we have? Yeah. Anything that you'd say there?
Lots of check-ins.
Yeah.
We check in like all the time. How are we doing
5
this?
times a day, usually we check in. I initiate the check-in. You shouldn't be surprised to hear that. How are
we okay?
How's this podcast going? Are we doing okay right now?
Is there a specific, like, how does that actually look? Like, what would a check-in look like?
Like, we'll have a date late afternoon. Mm-hmm. That's what we like to do.
Yeah, because we're done by 6, so
right.
we have to.
Starts at 4, done by 4:30. Yeah.
But literally, just like so, you grab lunch together, and how do you check in? I know this is so elementary, but I just know there's so many couples who have no idea how to do this.
Yeah.
Jason takes out his little note card and he says, "This is the stuff that we're talking about." And
I usually try to frame it. Yeah.
This is
sometimes
he brings Becky Weber is like, do not take his advice. This is a terrible advice. What does he think? He's a therapist?
She does a good job with it. Yeah. So usually I have like a conversation card to just like talk about a thing.
And it is sometimes it's more difficult because we work together and try and stay.
Yeah. So that's
married.
hard.
So we do have to do check-ins.
Yeah, we try to have both, right? So like, what's a personal thing? We'll kind of talk about like outside of business, but we talk about like our faith, our family, our finances, things like that. We'll check in on that really weekly. And then, do we need accountability around something? Are we struggling? What's a thing that's kind of on the horizon we should be looking out for?
I love that.
And then kind of who's doing what the next week to take care of that. And then we'll just kind of like make some notes.
On one of those things, you just listed off faith, financially. Can you like give me one example of an actual question that you would talk about, like, or a thing you would actually talk about? Like, what does that look like?
Do you want to?
Well, like finances. How much are we giving? How much are we saving? Do we have enough to pay for school? Do we have enough for, trips?
Literally walking through that.
Yeah, we do.
And then what's coming up the next month?
Right. What are we going to need money for? What are we going to
schedule? Like, are you doing the same with like, hey, you got this speaking engagement, that kind of thing too?
Yep. What needs to happen? What needs to be done? What do the kids need? We'll talk about like, where are the kids struggling? Where are they thriving? She has a different relationship with him than I do because we're with him different times. And so you might say, I'm really, I'm concerned about this, or this is a really cool story I wanted to tell you. Or I might say, I was thinking as I was reading a book the other day about this. And so we'll talk about kind of where are we going with the kids. This week we were just talking about, summer's almost over. And so what have we not done yet that we need to do? Whoa. And how do we be strategic about kind of knocking some of those things out if we haven't? And what does that look like?
Okay, this is amazing. Like,
this is like years of not doing it. Like,
it's true.
Like this has only happened within the last few years.
Yeah.
But we try, and it's even a 10-minute conversation on that, and the rest we can just have fun. But we really try and set it up for, how we're
gonna talk about this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like with all of this, I can hear the naysayer in me and in others. First off, what if, like, I feel like before we even get to this kind of debrief that you guys have, what if my spouse doesn't support my dreams? Because I'm married to this guy and he doesn't want to do anything that I feel called to. Like, she doesn't want to do anything like this. She doesn't even want to talk about my dreams, or they laugh at my dreams. What do I do if I'm in that?
I know what I think too.
Go ahead.
Other than going to see Jason VanRuler.
No, I mean, I might say it's easier than that, but it's probably a little bit of a harsh answer. Marriage isn't always about what you want. So you want or don't want their dreams. I don't know if that's really what it's about. It's their dreams. So, I mean, I think it kind of transcends what you want, and it's just what do they need?
Yeah.
I like to eat food. I don't really know how to make anything, a recipe. Like I wouldn't necessarily want that for me, or that's not a thing on my list, right? But I want it for you because you want it. Right. And if that's her need, I'm going to try to meet that need, even if it doesn't mean to me what it does to her.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect at that. So I'm not trying to like guilt or shame people about it. But I'm just saying, like, if we're not supporting each other, who is supporting?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like you show up to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people respond to what we role model. So are we supporting our person? So sometimes it's easy to kind of look at what we're not getting instead of looking at what we're giving. So I might just sort of challenge, like, well, are you their best cheerleader? And if you're their best cheerleader, why aren't they doing it back, right? And so what we often do is we try to change a person who's not giving us instead of giving to that person. And there's boundaries and all those things, but I think if we can be a good cheerleader to them, I think sometimes you have to tell them how much it means. Sometimes people don't get it.
Yeah.
right? Because if I, share an experience about when I did a therapist training, and I can get tearful about that, you wouldn't get tearful about that. And so I need to say sometimes, like, this is like life changing for me. It's value. Because always I don't think it is for you, right? And so I think letting them know, and I think too, sometimes we don't talk a lot about in marriage. Sometimes there's seasons of waiting, and sometimes we have to wait it out. Sometimes we're not getting what we need, and there just isn't a quick answer other than to wait for a while.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we learned at a couple of intensives that we actually participated in, but the therapist was just really brilliant and just said, like, hey, you sometimes have to wait.
Yeah.
Like, marriage isn't always going to be the thing you want it to be at the time you want it to be. Sometimes you wait for that person to show up different.
Thank you guys so much for listening today to today's episode. We really hope something in there was helpful and you got a takeaway. Who else would you like to thank today?
Yeah, really quick before that, like, send this to your husband, your wife, send it to your siblings who are married or single. Really share this episode. Like, there's just so much wisdom in what they just shared. So thanks to Jason and Jodi. Thanks to our partners, the International Justice Mission and Vern Eide Motor Cars. This wouldn't happen without both of those awesome organizations. Lastly, thanks to all of you who listen in. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.